Hi there, welcome to A Stretch Your Sketch with me, Ashley Horton, and Missy Whidden. This is the sketch that we're going to be using for this week and then for the next 3 weeks. Just showing you some variations on how you can take a sketch and use it in different ways. I'm going to start out in Silhouette Studio because this week I'm using the sketch as is, and I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I thought I would open up the sketch in Silhouette Studio. Which you can do because it's saved as a JPEG or PNG image, so you can open those up. I'm just going and searching for it right now on my desktop so I can open it. And it's going to open the sketch right into Silhouette Studio for me. So now I can use it as a template to draw my circles, because what I'm actually going to do is use the Silhouette sketch pens to draw the circles, and then I'm going to hand stitch over those. So just bear with me because I'm using a stylus pen and it picks up the background a couple of times here, but you'll kind of get the idea of what I'm doing. I'm just using the circle tool to draw those circle shapes and kind of just putting it over the circle there on the sketch just so I can get it in place and get it to the size that I want it. This is a good way to use your sketches if you're a perfectionist like me and you want to kind of get an idea of what you're doing. If you're using some cut files or something with your sketch, and we actually have some cut files that we're offering for free during the video series. I'll have a link to those down in the comments, and I'm also going to have a link to Missy's channel so you can check out her video and layout that she created this week too. So what I'm basically doing is just kind of getting all the circles in place. You can see it keeps picking up my background there. I don't know if there's a way to lock that. I know in some programs you can lock a layer. I don't really know if you can do that in Silhouette Studio, but it would be nice if you could do that. So when you're doing something like this, your mouse doesn't grab that background too. But I've just got 2 more circles I'm going to add in here. I'm just getting those sized. And once I have that finished, I'm going to just add my sketch pen into my Cameo, and it's going to draw those circles for me, and that'll be the first thing that I get started with on the layout. Just showing you basically how I got started with the stitching. I'm using the LE Studio Sunny Days collection on this layout, and I wanted to use, they had a wood grain paper that I really liked, and so I used that for my background, and I liked the stitching against the wood grain pattern. And so I've got 1 more circle to go just to get in place. And you could do this like if you wanted to kind of draw a box for your photos where you wanted your photos to go. You could do that, and then once you had your lines drawn, you'd know where you wanted to place your photos. So kind of doing things like this with your sketch pens is fun. Kind of like I guess an architectural way to get your sketch drawn out, if you want to call it that. These circles did not anywhere near have to be this precise, but like I said, I'm a perfectionist, so I liked the idea of being able to get them sized in here and have them match up with the sketch, and also with the photo sizes. So now you can see I have all of those there, and so when I send that to my Cameo, it's going to draw each of the circles for me onto the background paper that I'm using. And so I would just send it and make sure that I choose the sketch pen from the materials list whenever I'm getting ready to do that, because you have a selection of what materials you're using. And so once I have that chosen, I would just go ahead and send it to the machine, and it just draws it all out for me. And usually I use a silver colored pen if I'm using a light background. I think for this one I used my black pen just so I could see it a little bit better on that wood grain background paper, just so it would stand out to help me see it when I was stitching. So getting started should be coming up here in just a second, and you'll see me getting ready to do the layout. So I have all of my embroidery floss here to the side that I'm going to use. I chose colors that matched the Sunny Days collection, and so I'm just going to go around with my paper piercer and punch those holes and then get ready to start stitching. I have some orange, green, yellow, red, and teal color there, and I liked those colors for a summer layout and also for a masculine layout because I'm using pictures of my son on this layout, so that all worked out perfectly. And sadly, my washi tape collection has turned into a backer for my embroidery floss. When I'm stitching, I use it to tape it down the back side of the page. I don't use it as much as I should anymore, but it does come in handy for adhering that embroidery floss to the back side of the layout when you're stitching. So now I've got some stitching done, and I decided I wanted to bring in some more pattern paper just to have some more color on that background. So I went ahead and cut those same circles just a little bit smaller and use some of the LE Studio pattern papers, and I'm just going to place those in the center of each of the circles, and that's just going to add some contrast to that background with the wood grain, and you can see how that looks now. And I went ahead and finished all the stitching, and I overlapped it over those pattern paper circles too while I was doing that. So now I have my two photos, and I'm going to get those in place. I just layered one of those little cards behind the first photo, and I didn't put anything behind the second one, but I will add a few embellishments around it later. I'm trying to make sure that I have everything straight, which usually I don't, so it's usually always a little off or a little crooked. And I wanted to make this kind of quick for the rest of it since my stitching took a while, so I just used this little acrylic piece from the LE Studio collection for my title. So if you spend time doing something that's a little more time consuming, you can kind of balance out your layout. Like if you do something like the stitching, instead of maybe doing like a die cut title or a title where you're having to put a lot of thickers together or letter stickers, just grab something that's already pre-made, and that cuts down on the time. So you kind of balance out the time that you're spending on what you're doing, and you don't have to take so long for one layout. So now I've grabbed the little ephemera pieces, and I'm just kind of placing some of those. And you can reference back to the sketch. The sketch and the cut files are actually going to be available for download in a box folder, which I will have the link for you, so you can download both of those there. I did not use the cut files on this layout, but you could go ahead and download those, and I do use it on the second layout and possibly on the next two that I do for the series. We'll have the videos posting on Monday for the next 3 weeks after today, so you get a set of 4 videos. So this week we're doing as is, and then we'll have some variations on the sketch for the next 3 videos. So now I'm adding in some different texture with some wood veneers from the collection, and I like these kind of papers that have the different words and little images and things, and you can cut these apart and use them on the layout. And I usually always order 2 of those because I always like the back side too, so I like to have one I can cut up on the back side and then the other piece that I can use for whatever's on the opposite side of the layout, or I'm sorry, on the pattern paper. And I stuck mostly with the LE Studio Sunny Days collection, but I brought in a couple of other things. Just some of those little chevron wood veneers. Those are Studio Calico that I've had probably forever. I bought, I don't know how many packs of those just because I loved them so much. I also got some of the Studio Calico little, I guess those are kind of epoxy puffy stickers. And then the gold hearts that were from one of their 7 paper collections. I actually used it not too long ago on a layout for a flare for buttons with one of their pet collections, the Baxter collection. So I thought those kind of went well with the LE Studio, and also kind of matched up with some elements on the sketch that I wanted to add in. So I'm just kind of placing those following the sketch. Like I said, this week is as is for the sketch, so I tried to follow it as closely as possible. And I always have to have enamel dots, so I'm finding some places to add some enamel dots. I always like to have those on a layout. And then I'm back to looking at the little cut aparts, trying to figure out what else I want to add. And I decided to cut out the little summer tag just to add right there above that photo to kind of balance out the other photo that I had with Remember. And then I also added a flare button from a Flare for Buttons. I liked it right there beside the title of the page, so I wanted to get that on there and have the contrast of black too to go on the layout. And then just a couple of the other little things, a little cut apart here, and that'll pretty much finish up the layout for this week. I hope you enjoyed this week's video and that you'll give the sketch a go, and make sure you check out the comments below for Missy's channel and the link to download the sketch and the cut files. See you next week.